Have ever felt like this massive resistance when you're trying to quantum leap, when you're trying to change your reality, but you feel this inner resistance, this self sabotage? And the harder you try, the harder you're pushing your manifestation away. I know you are tired of hearing like you need to regulate your nervous system, but here I'm going to explain to you why regulating your nervous system is really the key for your manifestations to come through, for you to really access that level of reality, that level of abundance that you're trying to access, right? So, what you guys must understand is that while you are trying to listen to subliminals, listen to affirmations to rewire your mind, your subconscious mind, because you already understand that your subconscious mind is the gateway to your dream reality, you also have to understand who is the subconscious mind best friend, and that is the nervous system. The nervous system, I would say, is like the secret service. It is trying to protect you at all cost. And you, I would say here, is your subconscious mind, okay? Like the president is the one that sets the rule for your reality. Whatever you want to change in your life, you want to make sure that you have beliefs and you have emotional patterns and contracts that support that type of reality that you want to live. You can't expect your life, external life, to change without changing what's in your subconscious mind. Okay? Now, the nervous system is the secret service, is the bodyguard of the president, the subconscious mind, the one that sets the script. The president might say, like, we are abundant now. But if the nervous system sees abundance as something that is not safe, it will block, it will reject. Because what happens is your mind, especially when you are 0 to 7 years old, you experienced something. That something generated an emotion from you, and the subconscious mind set a rule, gave a meaning to it, and it formed your beliefs that you're navigating life with. But the physical expression of these rules, of these beliefs, comes through your nervous system reaction, comes through your anxiety, through your procrastination, through your self sabotage, right? That's the somatic memory of that rule that the president set. That being said, we need to understand about the nervous system, because if the nervous system perceives danger, it will protect the president. So the automatic nervous system is divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic. If you are a fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks a lot about this, right? The sympathetic is when you are in fight or flight. That's when you perceive danger and you are on survival mode. Back in the days, the survival, like the trigger points, were different, right? It was an animal trying to attack you. But now, the trigger points are completely different. It's like money, it's a bank, it's something abstract. It's not something physical that you're seeing there, that you get triggered and that you return to baseline. No, it is constantly there. And so, if this is always active, your energy is being used to scan the environment, to predict more of what's going to happen, and to avoid risks. So literally, you're using 80 to 90% of your energy to predict more lack, right? To survive. The problem with that is that you are not, when you are in survival, it's not time to create. Think about the animals. If they are trying to fight a predator, or they are trying to run away from it, it's not time to procreate, to generate life. It's not time to heal and repair. It's not time to create anything. So when this is dysregulated, when your nervous system is dysregulated, and this is your baseline, the fight or flight is your baseline, you don't access a full potential and capacity, your creative and intuitive mind. You don't have the energy to create abundance. You are using your energy to predict lack, to survive, to fight lack. And if your energy is being used to fight lack, it cannot be used to create abundance. Now, another thing is that some of you guys are not in rest and not in fight or flight. You're in freeze. That's when you're like camouflaging. You see the problem, you can't take an action, you're just like freezed. You're paralyzed with reality. And that's another form of dysregulated nervous system. And that becomes your baseline. And the problem of that becoming your baseline, there are many, but one of the many is what Dr. Dispenza talks about is the chemical cocktail, which is a set of hormones and neurotransmitters that your body gets addicted to. So if you're in a constant state of stress about money, for example, whenever you feel peace about money, your body will crave this chemical compound and will do anything to feel that because that's your baseline. And so you need to be aware of this. That way, whenever that feeling, that craving for that feeling starts to raise, and all of a sudden you're frustrated again, you know that that's your body trying to return to a hijacked baseline. The other problem with all of this is that what is directly connected to our heart? This. And if you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you know that the heart has an electromagnetic field that is 5,000 times stronger than the brain. That being said, if we are in a baseline of fight and flight, that completely changes the coherence of the heart, the field of the heart. That's why the heart and brain coherence. Because if your brain is like, okay, I want abundance, right? That's with your brain. But your heart is just regulated for lack. It's not incoherent. And you're gonna attract more of what is in your heart field, not in your brain. So to make that one wave, coherent wave, that's when your signal becomes very, very strong. And how do we do this? Greg Braden, he mentions this, and it's the same thing as the Institute Heart Math. When you get into a state of 0.1 hertz, you get into the state of coherence. And how do we do this? You can do it by using the box breathing, the same stuff that the Navy SEAL use to regulate themselves. You must have heard of this before. You are going to breathe in 1 minute only 6 times. So you're going to inhale, counting to, 5. And then you're going to hold your breath for 5 seconds. And then you're going to exhale in 5 seconds. And then you're going to hold your breath in 5 seconds. And you're going to do this. You're only going to do this cycle 6 times. But you're going to do it for a few minutes. As you do this, touch your heart, put your hand in your heart, and imagine you're breathing through your heart, and imagine your heart expanding. When you do this, you put yourself in a state of relaxation, and you make your heart coherence. You can also visualize your dream reality, your dream outcome as you're doing this. But this is a way of telling your nervous system, that the bodyguard, that hey, we are safe. See, we are safe. The best time to do this is whenever, map your triggers. What triggers you in your life right now? What takes your peace of mind? What is stressing you out right now? Is that the bank calling you? Is that your job? What is stressing you out? Where are you leaking your energy? Where are you in fight or flight survival? You gotta map that, and you need to micro expose your nervous system into safety. One fun fact is that a long time ago, I went to a hypnotherapist and I wanted to hypnotize myself for money. But the thing that she hypnotized me for was trust. And I remember getting out of her session frustrated. I was like, I don't understand. I wanted to, reprogram my mind for money is safe, like I'm a millionaire, whatever. And she programmed me for like, I'm safe. Why is that? Because if you're safe, you can access your intuition, your creative mind. Not only that, you are not in survival, right? You have the energy for creation, but you take action in stuff that you wouldn't take, which, by the way, when I became a widow, when I lost my first husband, my nervous system was out of whack. But other than that, like I had so much loss, not only the primary loss of losing him, but I also had the secondary losses, like my house, the relationships around me, like a neighbor came in and stole my entire house, people used his credit card, all this crazy shit. And so I literally lost everything. And that kind of like hijacked my nervous system into perceiving like loss as like nothing bad, nothing else can happen to me. I mean, it could, but I wasn't afraid of it anymore because the worst of the losses I was experiencing already. So what that did to me, I wasn't in survival anymore because I surrendered to life, to a greater power even, because I was like, God, if you allow this mess to be part of my reality, then I surrender now, because what am I going to do now? I have no clue. And so because I entered in this this out of survival. I wasn't survival, but I didn't have any perceived fear. I lost everything. Therefore, the only thing I could do next was to win. And so I started to take action, like bold action, that I would have never ever taken because my nervous system couldn't perceive any more threats. It was hijacked. It was like the worst already happened. Nothing worse can happen to you. So that's why rock bottoms, a lot of people, they like, whew, they skyrocket after rock bottoms because of that, because there's nothing else to lose. So you start to take bold actions that a person that has a lot to lose would not take. And that's the biggest difference. So you have to normalize your desired reality. Normalize, give micro evidences to your nervous system that that reality that you wanted to experience is safe. Other than that, how do we do that, Ian? Expose yourself to the reality that you want to live in. What do you want? You want a Ferrari? Go in the damn dealership, sit on the Ferrari, negotiate the price. Maybe you cannot negotiate the price, but sit on the Ferrari and notice the massive resistance that you are going to feel in your body. Perhaps you're going to do like this. I remember when I was doing this exercise with me, my body would shrink. Like I would close my arms like this, meaning I'm closed to this. This is not normal for me. And I would feel like, what are they going to think? And all these inner voices. So expose yourself to the reality that you want to experience. Make it familiar, okay? Other than that, what are you going to do? You're going to regulate yourself as soon as the triggers pop up in your reality. Is the bank calling you? You feel that anxiety, that stress? I know it's easier said than done, but you need to play this game right. Otherwise, you're going to stay stuck. The only way out is you understanding this and applying it. Because the body will do everything to keep feeling the same chemical compound. And will do everything to keep you in a familiar hell over an unfamiliar habit. So you regulate yourself through breathing or EFT tapping or whatever technique you want to use to regulate your nervous system when the triggers arise. Aside from that, is that enough, Pia, for me to manifest my reality? No. Helicopter. Aside from that, you are going to reprogram your mind. How do we reprogram our mind? You can reprogram through repetition, but the problem of repetition is that you already have enough evidence of the opposite in your reality. And so you've been using this path, this hiking trail for so long, and it's such an easy path. And you already have so much evidence of this path that you don't want to start a whole new trail, right? It's hard. You're competing with a pattern that already has enough evidence that money is hard, that you don't deserve money, whatever that is. That's why most people fail, because they are trying with affirmations and subliminals while this other path is still active. The method that I found that is the most efficient to do that is to know the rules of your subconscious mind and create what I call the tug of war, which is memory reconciliation. What is a belief? It's nothing more than a memory attached to an emotion and a meaning was given to it. But neuroscience has proven that you cannot erase the memory, but you can change the emotion attached to the memory. And once you do that, you change the belief. So now you don't have this neural pathway anymore with so much physical evidence that, yeah, money is hard to make. And you can easily start to create a new map, a new thread of continuity about you are a millionaire, for example. It's much more effective for you to remove the mold of the wall instead of just trying to paint over a wall that has a lot of mold. I don't know if it's making sense for you guys, but that's why most people get stuck. Not only because they don't reprogram the nervous system, but they are trying to compete with a program that already has not enough evidence. Not only that, guys, but I mentioned this in almost all of my videos. You guys think that you have a money problem. Like money is hard to make, money doesn't grow on trees. But what you actually have is a contract, emotional contract problem. You have a relationship problem. You cannot make more money because you are getting something when you're stuck at that financial level that you are at right now. Okay? You're getting something. What do you mean, Bia? You're getting love. You're getting familiarity, right? You're staying in a familiar environment. You're not leaving your family members behind. And so there are many emotional contracts that are blocking your abundance, and it's nothing to do with the macro beliefs of money is hard to make, I have to work hard for money. like money doesn't grow on trees or whatever that is. There are many macro emotional contracts that most people don't even look at, and that subliminals and affirmations won't dissolve. And you must be, unless you make the unconscious conscious, the unconscious is gonna govern your life, and you're gonna call it fate. Yeah, right? So look at your life and start to think what would change in your life if you got the money, if you got the relationship. Whose relationship would change if you got the things that you say that you want? And that right there is the key to a lot of your problems. So if you're interested in learning more about this and freeing yourself without the BS of just like, oh, just listen to this track and you're gonna be multimillionaire, or just do this tapping here and you're gonna unlock abundance. If you want the full formula of all of this, click on the link in the description and I'll see you there.